Hi, I am so excited that you are joining us today. This is my new friend, Dr. Lucretia Berry. And recently I listened to a TED Talk that Lucretia did here in Charlotte, right?
That's right.
And in that talk, she talked about the last line grabbed me, which you did a fabulous job.
Thank you.
Because you said that if we will not leave our children in the dark, they will light up the world.
That's true.
And as I started thinking, actually just this morning, about how that message lines up with the message of Brave Beauty, because Brave Beauty was written to teach girls to live fearlessly, but live fearlessly in light of who God made them to be. And that when they build their confidence on Christ, that it's a confidence that can't be taken from them. You know, other things can be taken from us, our education, the things that we own, the places we live, even the people in our lives can be taken from us. And so if we can teach children, and today we're specifically talking about girls, if we can teach them to build their confidence on Christ, then He can give them a type of bravery that no amount of education or success could ever give them. So I'd like to start out, Lucretia, with you just telling us that story of your daughter was so brave.
Yes, she was. Okay, well, first I want to show you a picture of my family. Here we are.
Aren't they beautiful?
That's my family.
3 girls.
3 girls. And so as you can, I'll just leave the picture here. As you can see, you can't see that. It's okay. We are a multi-ethnic family. And so my husband and I, we just wanted to make sure that our children would not, would not have their identities, their inner identity determined by how people looked at their skin color. Because we do live in a very racialized society in the United States. We have a very racialized history. We knew our daughters would grow up differently than, my husband did in Iowa, and I did in North Carolina. And so we were, we intentionally would talk about our different skin tones and like melanin and ancestry, and embrace these kinds of conversations. We'd also talk about the divisive race ideology and narrative, like since they were
that is so important
very little,
from the very beginning.
Yes, because we wanted them to be empowered, because we knew that they would get certain questions from society about like, well, who are you, or what are you? And we really wanted them to understand that beyond a political, economic, and social construct of race, or beyond all of that, like they really are created in the image of God. They are God's girls, and they can live in the power of that, regardless of what's happening in society, how society is interpreting their skin tone, or trying to narrate their identity based on their mom and dad. And so, our first child, when she was small, she would say that we're all hues of brown. Like that was her observation, which was actually correct, because melanin, which we all have, unless you are an albino, we all have melanin, and it is a color. It is brown, and so you can have less of it, like you, Lynn, because of your ancestry, or more of it, like I do. And so she would say, Daddy is light brown. She would say, Mommy is dark brown, and she'd say, I am medium brown. So she already had her
beautiful observation.
Yes, consciousness about that. And so she went to kindergarten, and every mother, of course, is nervous about your baby going away to school, or going to school. Well, but I loved her kindergarten class. Her kindergarten teacher was like Mary Poppins times 100. Hi, Mrs. Payne. And but one day my daughter came home and said, Mommy, a girl in my class who was your skin tone, so a girl who was my skin tone, said to my daughter, I'm only going to hug the people in the class with my skin tone. Nobody else is going to get hugs. And she told me that, and as an adult, I understand what was going on there. And it really, it broke my heart for her.
I can't imagine.
It broke my heart for that little girl as well, because I knew she probably had internalized some negative things, and so she was kind of project that on my daughter. And I was really upset. And in my head, I'm trying to figure out,
where do we go from here?
Yeah, what am I going to do? I'm going to get that little girl.
I would feel that way. Mama Bear comes out.
Mama Bear came out. But really, I kept myself contained because I didn't want, I don't want to panic in front of my child because then she would perceive that that's something to panic about. Right. So she then said, but I told her that if you only hug the people in our class with your skin tone, look at all the other wonderful hugs you're going to miss out on. And it just floored me that she was able to do that. She appealed to her classmates' sensibility. I mean, here I was ready to, just go to the school, talk to the, of course, the teacher, talk to the director of the school, and like, okay, we need some education. I'm prepared to come in and help in any way that I can. And of course, I'm ready to go straight for the brain and the knowledge. But my child appealed to her classmates, to her heart and to her sensibility. And that totally made sense. And I thought, oh, okay, I guess our equipping is working.
Yeah, absolutely. You saw it in action.
I saw it in action where she had, her own sense about herself and kind of how to navigate the conversation. And
so as we're raising what we hope to be brave daughters, brave beauties, what can you give us? I mean, we could be here all day for you to teach us everything that you've learned, but can you give us 1 or 2 points that that we can walk out with our daughters to help them to be brave when it comes to getting to know people that are different from them and going beyond what is comfortable and that you're surrounded with, particularly in regards to people who are different from us?
Right. Well, all moms or parents should, if your daughters play with dolls, that's an easy way to bring many hues of brown into your home. And normalize that. Like, that's normal. Like, we live in a world with all these different people who look differently. So bring that into your home. Like, your home doesn't have to be like a, mono-ethnic space, especially if you're white, because white people in the United States tend to be more in kind of homogeneous or mono-ethnic spaces because you're the majority culture, whereas people of color are moving in and out of different spaces all the time. So I would diversify or have different skin tones with dolls and books. Like books, that's an easy way. And so then kind of then color and different hues of skin tone doesn't become this thing of otherness. It's like, oh, this is normal that people are different skin tones. And then yes, you will at the appropriate age have intentional conversations about the history of race and how that has divided us, but how we don't have to continue that legacy.
Yes.
And children are so resilient, and girls are super social.
Yes.
And so, get ahead of it. Get ahead of the conversation, like you would anything, like with sex, right?
Right. Be proactive.
We want to be proactive, so you want to be proactive, and with your girls. And so even my girls, I talk to them, about hair. Like for example, they all, well, no, they don't. Let's see, my oldest has really curly hair, and sometimes she wants her hair straight. So now I want her to, there's nothing wrong with straight hair. Sure. But I want her to embrace the beauty in her, like the hair that she was designed and having. So I explained to her, there's nothing wrong with straight hair, and maybe one day you could do that. But right now, I want you to really embrace the beauty of your curls. If you straighten your hair, like, who will wear your beautiful curls? If you... And I explained to her, like, you watch a lot of shows where the girls have straight hair. So that teaches your brain that straight hair is the norm and the right way or the preferred way. Let's find some images and some shows where people have, curly hair that looks like yours. And so again, like, showing our daughters that that they are beautiful.
Those two are so practical. I know when we were raising our children, it diversity and exposing them to different people, and not just in color, but also economically and abilities and all kinds of ways that were different. And one of the ways that we did that was by purposefully choosing a church family where that was all represented. And I know that is maybe for some people a more difficult step to take, but it really made a big difference. It makes a big difference, also then it allowed for relationships to foster. And so my children had children in their lives that weren't the same skin color as them, and I know that their lives were enriched, by having those experiences in their life.
Right. And like, for example, when we found a pediatrician here, and you know how you get the whole office and you pick which one.
Yeah.
Where there were, I think the majority were women, so I intentionally chose that. But then there was one who wore a hijab.
Oh, sure.
Okay, we want that one.
Wow, that is wonderful.
So being intentional.
Yes.
And let's see, always trying to expose them to beauty that is different than maybe what we've been taught is conventional.
Yes. We even made it fun in our family in that we were constantly trying new foods too.
Yeah.
Because, I feel like that by doing that when they were young, it prepared them to go ahead and go for the unfamiliar. It's okay if it's not what you're expecting. It's an adventure.
Yes.
And to see learning about other people as an adventure.
Right. And a privilege. A wonderful thing to do.
Yes, because we make our lives better when we are when we're all interacting together and living life together. One body. That's right. So I hope you've enjoyed this conversation as much as I have, and you go in raising a brave beauty in your home, and especially in this topic of teaching her that beauty doesn't look one way, but God has made us all beautiful. So thanks for joining us.